Why is nutrition so confusing? Why are there so many diets? If you Google diet, what diet I should be on, what diet you should be on, you're going to get so many different things that pop up. But let me tell you this, I'm excited that there are so many different diets. I'm excited that there's so many different things that pop up because that means I get to come to you today, break it down, and make it just a little more simple. So let's get ready. Let's talk about nutrition and let's dive in to today's episode. Hey, what is going on, friend? Welcome to this week's episode of the Fit and Healthy Sioux Falls show. We're going to be talking about nutrition. We're going to be talking about diets. We're going to be talking about what diet is best for you to get the results that you're looking for. And the truth of it is, I've got some notes here because I wanted to make sure I hit some specific points. Nutrition can be very difficult because it's confusing. And it's been something for me where I don't think that I have a full understanding on all of it. And the truth is that nutrition is continually changing. But there's some simple things that until I knew these things, it was so confusing. It was so over my head. And I had no idea really where to even start with it all. And so I'm excited to come to you today and talk about the best diet for you, how to even know where to start with that diet. Why are there so many different diets? We're going to be talking about nutrition labels. What do you even look at when you look at a nutrition label? Because the truth is that when you flip over whatever food that you're eating and you look at the nutrition label, there's a lot of stuff on that label, and I don't even know why half of it's there other than maybe to confuse you and maybe to confuse me. But I'm going to help you understand what things you should be looking at and really how to make sense of all this nutrition stuff. Because the truth is, and I own a gym. I own Fit Body Boot Camp here in Sioux Falls. We've got 2 locations. And I'll tell you, I'll be the first person to tell you. And remember, I just said, I own a gym. But the most important thing when it comes to fitness and fat loss results, or any type of results when it comes to working out, the most important thing is your nutrition. Now, with that being said, why then, when you look at the health and fitness industry, are there so many gyms on every single corner, but there's not so many people getting so many results? Well, because the truth is that the gym doesn't produce the result. The people that run the gym, the people that hold the clients accountable, and then the nutrition that the client goes and changes for the better is what delivers that result. And so today we're going to dive into that nutrition and talk about how you can make some very easy changes in your understanding of nutrition that's going to help you get amazing results. So I want to start with, and I wrote this down, what the heck are macros? So I don't know if you ever heard that or not. Have you ever heard the term macros? So when it comes to nutrition, there are macronutrients and there are micronutrients. So the most common form of nutrients that are talked about as it relates to nutrition is macro. That the macros, what are the macros in what you're eating? And so you might be someone watching this or listening to this, and you might hear that and have no idea what someone's talking about. What are the macros? Well, let's start with that and let's break that down. Macros simply refers to the amount of carbs, fats, or protein that are in the item that you're eating. Now, every food that you eat is made up of carbs, fats, and proteins. And there's a specific set of calories per gram. And that's why nutrition gets to be so confusing, because there's calories and then there's grams, and it's it's how many calories I should be eating, but then there's this many grams in a serving, and it's like, how does that all relate? And it is confusing. But what you need to understand, really, when it comes to macros, is that there are more calories per gram in every gram of fat than there are in carbs and proteins. And so that's why when you eat fats, or when you look at fats, such as like peanut butter, avocado, oils, stuff like that, butter, the amount of calories in a serving is usually quite high. And it's because the calories in the 1 gram are higher in fats than carbs and proteins. But now when we get into carbs, fats, and proteins, this is kind of the biggest game changer. When I started understanding carbs, fats, and proteins, that really helped me understand the difference of them, what they are, and how to utilize them to get the best results for my fitness journey. And it was when I started to understand that, and I'll tell you this, most people know that when it comes to protein, that protein relates to muscle, right? Because there's been a lot of stuff in the media and the public has done a pretty good job about letting people know about protein shakes. Like, I feel like for the most majority of people, they understand that protein shakes usually equate to working out, and they usually equate to muscle. But one thing that I would say the media or public has done a bad job of is somehow they've gotten this message across that protein shakes relate to big, bulky muscles. And the truth is that's just not the truth. So protein helps build muscle, and then carbs and fats, both of them, right? There's 3 macros: proteins, carbs, and fats. Carbs and fats help the body have energy. So and that right there is like the biggest nutritional understanding shift that I had years ago that really just made nutrition so much more understandable for me, because now I understand, hey, everything that I eat, there's carbs, there's fats, and there's proteins in that thing. And everything that I eat, it's either going to help me maintain or build my muscle, give me energy, and really that's it. Like food was made for fuel. Now we have modernized fuel or food to not just be for fuel, but to actually be for fun. And now every single thing that we do involves food, and it involves some type of food. And if you have certain types of food, it makes it more fun and enjoyable. So really, when you think about it, carbs, fats, proteins. Proteins build the muscle, carbs and fats give the body energy. Now, energy. Okay, and I don't really know the best way to kind of describe this or the best analogy to give it, except for when you give something energy. Let's take example, charging any device. There's a level at which it is fully charged, and it does not need any more energy. It's fully charged. But the thing of it is all these devices that we charge, once they're fully charged and don't need any more energy, you can keep them plugged in, keep giving them energy, but it doesn't actually keep taking it. Whereas your body is different. Your body, once it's completely charged, meaning you've eaten enough or your body is full, you can keep on eating, but what it's going to do is not just pass through this food that you're giving it and just say, no, I'm good, I don't need that. It's going to start storing it as fat because you are overcharging, you're giving your body too much energy. So as it relates to carbs and fats, okay, the body needs them for energy. And this is one of the main reasons why I said, why are there so many diets? And the reason is because really they all work. So when I said, what is the best diet for you? They all work or they wouldn't be out there. Every single diet that you will Google, that you will find on the internet today is a diet that somebody got results on that they were happy with. And so that's why this diet exists. And so when you want to know what the best diet is, well, they're all good to somebody. So the best diet for you is the one that you can follow, the one that makes sense to you, and the one that's going to deliver you the best results. But nutrition plays such a huge role in that. And understanding nutrition is more important, I think, than what diet is best for you. So the biggest thing that I want you to understand is the difference between carbs, fats, and proteins. Your proteins are muscle-building nutrients. Your carbs and fats are energy-giving nutrients. Now, your body has a certain amount, we're going to call them calories, like they are, certain amount of calories that it needs every single day to function and operate at its normal level. Now, in the fitness world and in the health world, we call that your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. Now, this episode of the show is of the Fit and Healthy show is a little more kind of in the weeds, a little more detailed about nutrition, but I think it's something that is really going to help you if you can understand nutrition, because it's going to help you know what the heck you should be eating and maybe why you're not getting results, or maybe why you think you're eating healthy, but you're still not getting the results that you want. So this doesn't go for everybody, but a lot of times we get the question, how much protein should I have? Well, again, it doesn't go for everybody, but a general rule of thumb is you should be having at least 100 grams of protein per day. Now, if you want to get real scientific and real dialed in, you're going to have to meet with a nutritionist. You're going to have to meet with someone that really understands you, your lifestyle, your kind of workout or your fitness routine, that can then dial in and get really on a level that's more personalized for you. But as a general blanket statement, I feel very confident in saying that you should have at least 100 grams of protein per day. So now I want to cover the next question, I guess, when we said, what the heck do we even look at when we look at nutrition labels? Well, the main three things you should be looking at when you look at a nutrition label are the carbs, the fats, and the protein. Now, there's two other areas, so there's really 5 main things I want you to look at when you look at a nutrition label. The first 3 are carbs, fats, and proteins. So how many carbs, fats, and proteins are in whatever item that I'm eating. Then what I want you to look at is the sugars. And now sugar is a carb, and that's another big misunderstanding. A lot of times people don't actually understand what is protein, what is carbs. A lot of times we'll have people say, hey, peanut butter is protein. Well, yes, there is protein in peanut butter, but there's a majority of that is fat. So I would actually say that peanut butter is really a fat, higher in fat. Yes, it does have protein, but that's why we need to look at those 3 items on that nutrition label, the carbs, the fats, the proteins, to make sure we understand what is in that item and how much of each are in it. The next thing is the sugars, right? Like I said, because that also goes right into the carbs. But I don't want you to really ever have anything, and it depends. There are certain cases, times, and scenarios where this would change. But for, again, a general rule of thumb, really, I don't want you to be eating any packaged items that have over 10 grams of sugar in it. If there's over 10 grams of sugar in it, well, then it's just really the only way that it's getting its flavor, the only way that it's tasting the way that it's tasting is because it's got that sugar in it. Now, again, this is not just a one statement, serves everyone type of deal, because there are different circumstances. Now, when it comes to fruits are high in sugar. So also, when it comes to fruits, most fruits you can't turn over and read a nutrition label because they're nutritious and they're made the way that they're made, and it's like all natural. But I'm talking about the things, the packages, the things that you pick up at the gas station or on the go. You might pick up a quote unquote protein bar, flip it over and see that thing has got 25 grams of sugar in it, and there's only 12 grams of protein. That thing's got like 50 grams of carbs. Okay, but because it's got 12 grams of protein, the world, the food industry, has done a good job at misleading you, saying that this is a protein bar, when really it's a high carb bar packed with sugar. So really it just makes you understand, look at the sugars, and my advice, take it or leave it, would be if it has 10 grams or more of sugar, try to find a different option. Now, the fifth thing that I would look at would be the ingredients. Because so many times you can look at the carbs, the fats, the proteins. The fourth thing is that sugar. But then the fifth thing would be looking at the ingredient list. Because let's say you look at it, carbs seem to be pretty good, fats seem to be pretty good, protein's good, and it doesn't have a ton of sugar, but then all of a sudden you go to the ingredients, and it's like this laundry list of ingredients in this item that you're gonna eat. And really the main rule of thumb that we like to go with is if you can't pronounce these words that are in the ingredient list, you probably should not be eating them. And so you want to be looking for items, and when it looks at that nutrition label, you want to be looking for items that have a smaller, basically, list of what is in that, what's in the item. Because otherwise, you're just eating, a lot of times, man-made substances to make that food be what it is. So now that we've kind of looked a little bit on what are carbs, what are fats, what are proteins, like what are those, they're called macros, and then looked at what we should look at with the nutrition label, I want to just talk to you and give you a really general way to think about nutrition and to think about the food that you eat. Because remember, if we're truly wanting to make some fitness results, maybe we want to lose some weight, we want to get in better shape, we want to feel better about, the way we look in the mirror, want to drop some weight, we need to understand that it really does come down to what you put in your body and fuel it for with nutrition. So I want you to think about this. And this is kind of an analogy that I've used in the past with some of my nutrition clients. And that's one cool thing that I'll say, a little shameless plug for FitBody, is we do have components to our gym that are completely nutrition focused. Because what we've realized is that in order to really get amazing results, yes, like I said earlier, you probably need a gym. That's why there's so many of them. But more importantly is you need help with nutrition. And so we do have a couple of our programs. The main one is our Bootcamp Plus program, where you have a designated coach, and then we have our app, our proprietary FitBody nutrition app, which you then get access to, where the coach works with you personally and then uses that app on the back end and really helps dial in what your nutrition should be based on your lifestyle. But here's so many times why you maybe can even think that you're eating healthy, but you're not getting results. And it comes down to this. Your body needs to trust you. And that might sound weird the first time that you're hearing that. It might sound like, what do you mean my body needs to trust me? Well, I want you to think about this, okay? Your body, it runs off of this nutrition that you give it. That's how your body is fueled for the day. But if your body doesn't know when you're going to feed it, if your body doesn't know what you're going to feed it, and if your body doesn't know how you're going to feed it, it starts to lose trust with you. And so what your body does then is it starts taking anything that it can and storing it as fat, because your body can then start pulling from those fat stores to feed itself if you're not feeding it. And so the perfect example is this, is if you think about your cupboards in your kitchen, right? Most people in the cupboards of their kitchen, they store kind of the raw ingredients. Let's just take like spaghetti, for example. If you were going to make spaghetti, you would open up the cupboard where you've got your dry noodles. You'd then get the water, the pot and the pan, and you'd get the water boiling and you'd make that spaghetti. So you take out of the cupboard, you would take the noodles. And then you'd open the fridge and you'd take out the sauce, or wherever you have your sauce kept. Maybe it's in another cupboard, right? And you would then mix all these ingredients together to make spaghetti. But all the different ingredients were stored in those cupboards. That's where you stored them, so that when you went to make that spaghetti, you could pull it from there. Well, if you just had like a magic genie that was going to boom, they were going to just appear, and whenever you wanted to eat something, they were just going to bam, there it is, boom, ready to go. You don't have to cook it. Now, first and foremost, that would be awesome, because we'd never have to cook again, which I'd be all for. Raise my hand for that. But secondly, you wouldn't need to store any of the ingredients in the cupboard, because you wouldn't need them. You'd just say, hey, I'm hungry for spaghetti, and boom, spaghetti would appear. Well, your body is the exact same thing. If it knew that every time it needed fuel, if it knew that every time it was going to be low on fuel, that you were going to feed it what it needed, it would not need to store fat in your cupboards, in places like your love handles or your butt or your belly. Those are your body's cupboards. And so what your body is doing is like, I don't know when you're going to feed me. I don't know when I'm like lacking energy or when I need something, if you're going to actually give me what I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a little bit because you ate a little bit too much last night. And so instead of like using that energy, I'm going to just store it over here in your butt or your belly or your love handles as fat, so that way, when I need energy, I can just pull from those storage places. And so what we need to do is feed our body consistently. One of the most important things when it comes to nutrition is consistently giving it what you need. You can't one day eat 7,000 calories and then the next day eat 200, and then the next day eat 3,000, and then the next day eat 1,000. And then on the weekends, you eat 10,000 calories a day. Like, your body doesn't know, and it doesn't have any trust with what you're doing. And so again, that's why when you look at all these different diets, they've all worked for somebody. And so you might be thinking that, what about those diets where somebody fasts for so long and then they eat just this giant meal? Well, what happens is they do that consistently, and then your body starts to trust you, and it starts to know that, oh, hey, this person doesn't eat, and then I know that I'm going to get real hungry, and then all of a sudden when they eat, I have all these nutritious needs that I have and that I can fill at this one time that they eat. Well, they do that consistently, and your body starts to trust it. So you have to eat consistently. And that's why, too, you might be eating all the right things, but it's just not making you get the results that you want. Well, you need to ask yourself, number one, are you doing it consistent? And number two, how long have you been doing it for? A lot of times when I talk with our clients and they're telling me, I'm not seeing results. And I was before. And I ask them, I'm like, how consistent are you with your nutrition? Well, and this is what happens. They were super consistent in the beginning because they had these certain goals and these certain results they wanted to achieve. But then what happens is this life, you get complacent, you get comfortable. And so maybe Monday through Friday, your nutrition's pretty darn good. But then what happened is you're like, I'm pretty comfortable with where I'm at. And so then you start eating whatever you want on the weekends. But Monday through Friday, you're really good. Well, so in your mind, you're like, I still eat pretty good. But are you doing it consistently through the weekend? And that right there could be the one thing that's different that you're now changed, where you've now hit this plateau. And so your body, again, it's not trusting you because it's like, hey, I don't know if you're going to eat healthy all week or just during the weekdays, because then you like overeat and overdrink on the weekends. And so I just can't trust you anymore. So when you overeat, I'm going to just start storing fats and stuff because I need to make sure that when I need to fuel my body, I can pull it from this nutrition and pull it from the fat that I have stored. And so your body starts to do that. And that's why your body stores fat. So you need to make sure that you're eating enough and eating consistently and eating good foods that will push you in the right direction. So I want you to remember this. Proteins build the muscle, they keep the muscle. You should be eating, like I said, this isn't for everybody, and I want to make sure there's a disclaimer that this is not advice, one size fits all, but you should be shooting to get at least 100 grams of protein per day, okay? Many cases, in most cases, it's more than that. But I would say at least 100, okay? And then when it comes to carbs and fats, understand that fats are not the best thing ever. If you think of keto, right? Like, fats aren't the thing that are going to just change the way that everything works for you. But also remember this, carbs, like, they're not the devil. Carbs are not awful for you. And so many times growing up, I know that was kind of a stereotypical thing that like my mom, she definitely thought and was like something drilled into her, just all her growing up as well, is that carbs are no good. Well, here's the truth. Carbs and fats both are energy sources for your body. And your body needs energy to perform. And so whether it's fats or carbs, you need to consistently be getting enough calories from those two sources to give your body enough energy. So now that you understand macros, proteins, carbs, and fats, you can now start to understand how those different nutrients are going to work with your body and how they're going to get you results. And I know we've kind of covered a lot, and there's Trust me, nutrition is deep. There's a ton more that we could cover, and I want to cover more. But the truth is that we just don't have enough time to really dive in to anything that's going to actually change you on a personal level. And so the general takeaway that I need you to take away from this episode is that number one, the diet that's best for you is the diet that you can consistently do. Okay? Number one, the diet that's best for you is the diet that you can consistently do. Number two, what are macros? Macros are proteins, carbs, and fats. That's what they are. So if you ever hear someone talking about macros, it's proteins, carbs, and fats. And when you look at a nutrition label, what should you be looking at? There's 5 things that I want you to be looking at. Those 5 things that I want you to be looking at are the carbs, the fats, and the proteins, and then the sugars. Remember, if it's 10 grams or more of sugar, probably grab a different item. And then the 5th is the ingredient list. What is it that's making up this item that you're going to eat? And if that ingredient list has words that you don't even know what they are, a laundry list of words, probably also skip on it. So I hope those are some key takeaways that you can take away from this episode to really help you understand nutrition more. But if you have more questions with nutrition and you have more desire to really get better results, I'm telling you with probably a 99% certainty, the one thing that will get you better results is getting better with your nutrition. So if you are listening or you are watching this and you need help with your nutrition, know that at FitBody, we can do that. And know that if we ever get to a point that we can't, that we're going to find places here in town that can help you with it, because it's not a one size fits all. And it's not just a paper meal plan that, hey, this is the meal plan that's going to get you the results. We need to really dive into you. We need to dive into your needs. And that's why even too, when we work with our paper meal plans here at FitBody, we work with very different categories of what type of meal plan are we going to give a person. And we have to get to know you before we can give that. So we can give very general. And honestly, for some time now, we've been giving away a 2-week free meal plan. But again, remember, that's just general meal plan knowledge. It's not going to be specific to you, and it's not going to be the best to get you the results that you deserve. And so if we can help in any way, let us know, because that is what we want to do. I have a link in the description of this video where you can grab a free week at FitBody. Grab that free week, come in, check out FitBody. When you're in your free week, let us know that, hey, I want to dive deeper into my nutrition, and we can talk to you about a couple different programs that we have here at FitBody. We have our Ultimate Transformation Program, or we have our Bootcamp Plus coaching program. So either of those 2 programs are going to get you much more nutritional help, much more nutritional support, and we'd love to be able to do that. But again, we're going to cover the takeaways because they're important. I want you to know them. The diet that is best for you is the diet that you can do consistently. Number 2, what are macros? Macros are protein, carbs, and fats. Number 3, what should I look for when I look at a nutrition label? You should look at the macros. Then you should look at the sugar amount, 10 or more grams, skip it. Look at the ingredient list. Lastly, if that ingredient list is too long, skip it, grab a different item. And knowing these different things, knowing this little bit of information about nutrition, I hope that it'll make you be able to just make 1 or 2 more smarter choices every single time you have to make a nutritional decision, and know that you have what it takes to achieve amazing results. But it starts with you making the decision to make a decision that's healthier for you. Have an awesome day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you could do me one big favor, I'd love for you to like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, subscribe. So if you're watching this or listening to this on any other platform than our YouTube platform, I want you to head over to YouTube. Head to YouTube, go to the Sioux Falls Fit Body Bootcamp YouTube page, and you will find all of our fit and healthy stuff there. That is where the Fit and Healthy podcast show is hosted, and that's where it lives. But subscribe to the Sioux Falls Fit Body Bootcamp YouTube channel. And as always, guys, you can find everything about this podcast on our website, which is just siouxfalls.fit. So for any info that you need about past episodes, upcoming episodes, or anything like that, go ahead and go to siouxfalls.fit. And two, if you at all know of anyone or you yourself would like to be on the show, shoot me an email, coachcj@siouxfallsfitbody.com, and I would love to set up a time to be able to interview you and make sure that whatever type of health or fitness info that you have, we get it out to the community so that we can make Sioux Falls as fit and as healthy as possible. Have an awesome day, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Fit and Healthy Sioux Falls Show. Bye, guys.